your stomach can digest itself? But it doesn't, right now. Deep inside your body, one of the most dangerous chemical environments you will ever encounter is working silently. Your stomach is filled with powerful acid and digestive enzymes. Together they soften food, break down proteins, and destroy many of the harmful microorganisms that enter your body when you eat. But there is something strange about this process. Your stomach is made of living tissue, and the same digestive substances that break down the food you swallow could also injure the cells lining your stomach. So why doesn't your stomach begin digesting itself? Why doesn't the acid burn through its own walls? And how does this soft, living organ survive an environment that is acidic enough to damage unprotected tissue? The answer is not simply that your stomach is stronger than the acid. In fact, your stomach is constantly defending itself every second. A hidden protective system separates the acid from the living cells underneath it. That system must remain active day and night, whether you are eating, sleeping, exercising, or going hours without food. But sometimes, the protection becomes weaker, and when it does, the same substances designed to digest your meal may begin damaging the organ that produced them. This can lead to inflammation, pain, bleeding, and open sores known as ulcers. But that is only the beginning of the mystery, because your stomach does much more than hold food. It stretches to receive a meal, churns that meal with muscular contractions, releases precisely controlled digestive chemicals, protects itself from those chemicals, and then sends the partially digested food into your small intestine. It performs this dangerous balancing act every day of your life, and you rarely feel any of it happening. So, before we reveal the remarkable shield that prevents your stomach from digesting itself, we first need to understand exactly what is waiting on the other side of that shield. How powerful is stomach acid? What does it actually do to your food? And why does your body need something so destructive inside such a delicate organ? Let's travel inside the stomach and uncover one of the most extraordinary survival systems in the human body.
What do you think?
The journey begins the moment you swallow. After food is chewed and mixed with saliva, it travels down a muscular tube called the esophagus. A few seconds later, it enters your stomach. But your stomach is not simply an empty storage bag. It is a muscular organ designed to receive food. Mix it and begin breaking it down before gradually releasing it into the small intestine. Its walls contract in organized waves. These movements crush and fold the food repeatedly. Mixing it with a powerful liquid called gastric juice. Gastric juice contains several important substances, but two of the most important are hydrochloric acid and a protein-digesting enzyme called pepsin. Hydrochloric acid creates an extremely acidic environment. The exact acidity changes depending on whether you have eaten, how much acid your stomach is producing, and where the measurement is taken. But gastric fluid can reach a pH close to 1 or 2. On the pH scale, lower numbers mean greater acidity. Pure water is neutral, with a pH of about 7. That means the environment inside an actively secreting stomach can be thousands of times more acidic than water.com. But your body does not produce this acid by accident. Special cells in the stomach lining, called parietal cells, release the components needed to form hydrochloric acid. The acid then performs several essential jobs. First, it changes the structure of proteins in food. Proteins are long, folded molecules. Before digestive enzymes can break them into smaller pieces, those tightly folded structures need to be opened. the acidic environment helps unfold them, making them easier for enzymes to attack. The acid also converts an inactive substance called pepsinogen into Pepsin is an enzyme that cuts large protein molecules into smaller fragments. So when you eat chicken, fish, eggs, beans, or meat, your stomach begins the early stages of protein digestion. The acid does not simply make food disappear, and it does not complete digestion by itself. Instead, the acid, enzymes, and muscular contractions work together. The stomach squeezes the meal, mixes it, softens it, and gradually transforms it into a thick, soupy mixture called chyme. This mixture will eventually leave the stomach and enter the small intestine, where most digestion and nutrient absorption continue. But stomach acid has another important function. It acts as one of the body's first chemical barriers against infection. Food and water are not always perfectly clean. They may contain bacteria and other microorganisms. Many of those organisms cannot survive prolonged exposure to the stomach's highly acidic environment. Stomach acid therefore helps reduce the number of harmful microorganisms that travel farther into the digestive system. However, it cannot destroy every pathogen. Some microorganisms are adapted to survive harsh conditions, and contaminated food can still cause illness. Even so, without gastric acid, one of the body's important natural defenses would be weakened. This means the acid inside your stomach is not your enemy. It is an essential digestive tool, a chemical defense, and part of a carefully controlled biological system. But it creates an obvious problem. The food inside your stomach contains proteins. The wall of your stomach also contains proteins. Pepsin helps break down proteins. So how does it know the difference between your meal and your body? The unsettling answer is, it doesn't. Pepsin is not intelligent. It cannot identify which protein belongs to food and which belongs to you. If the living tissue of the stomach were left completely exposed to acid and active digestive enzymes, it could be injured. So your stomach must physically separate its digestive contents from its own vulnerable cells, and it must maintain that separation continuously.
Imagine eating a piece of chicken. Before you swallow it, your teeth have already begun breaking it into smaller pieces. Saliva moistens the food and makes it easier to move down the esophagus, but when the chicken reaches the stomach, the real chemical attack begins. The stomach expands to accommodate the meal. Its muscular walls then begin contracting. These contractions do not happen randomly. They move through the stomach in waves, pushing the food forward while forcing much of it backward again. This repeated movement grinds and mixes the meal with gastric juice. At the same time, hydrochloric acid begins altering the proteins inside the food. The proteins start losing their tightly folded shapes. Once unfolded, they become more accessible to pepsin. Pepsin cuts the large protein molecules into smaller chains, but protein is not the only thing inside your meal. Food may also contain fats, carbohydrates, vitamins, minerals, water, and fiber. The stomach begins some parts of digestion, but it does not handle everything equally. Most carbohydrate digestion pauses in the highly acidic stomach environment because the salivary enzyme that began working in your mouth becomes much less effective there. A small amount of fat digestion can occur, but most fat digestion happens later in the small intestine with help from bile and pancreatic enzymes, the stomach's primary jobs, therefore not to absorb every nutrient. Its main role is to store the meal temporarily, mix it thoroughly, begin protein digestion, and control how quickly the mixture enters the small intestine. It can't simply release the entire meal at once. The small intestine needs time to neutralize the incoming acid and continue digestion, so a muscular gateway at the bottom of the stomach, called the pyloric sphincter, regulates the movement of chyme into the small intestine. Only small amounts are allowed, through at a time. This gives the next section of the digestive tract a chance to process the acidic mixture safely. Your stomach's therefore both a powerful chemical chamber and a carefully controlled delivery system. It holds food back, processes it, and releases it gradually. But now consider what is happening throughout this process. Acid is being produced, pepsin is being activated, foods being forcefully churned against the stomach wall, yet the living cells underneath usually remain unharmed. The reason is hidden in a protective layer so important that without it, normal digestion could become self-destruction. This invisible barrier is made from mucus, bicarbonate, and tightly connected cells. It keeps the harsh contents of the stomach away from the delicate tissue beneath them. But the barrier is not permanent. It must be produced continuously, repaired continuously, and supported by a constant blood supply. And when any part of that system fails, your stomach can begin losing its protection against its own acid. In the next chapter, we'll finally uncover the extraordinary shield that stops your stomach from digesting itself.
Imagine standing in the middle of a raging fire without getting burned. That sounds impossible. Yet something very similar is happening inside your stomach every second of your life. Just millimeters away from one of the most acidic environments in your body. Millions of delicate living cells continue working safely. Their secret is an extraordinary protective barrier. The first layer of that barrier is mucus. But this isn't the same mucus that forms when you have a cold. The stomach produces a special, thick, slippery gel that coats its entire inner surface. Think of it as a transparent blanket covering every inch of the stomach wall. This blanket creates a physical barrier between the stomach, acid and the living tissue underneath. But the mucus alone isn't enough. Hidden inside that protective gel is another remarkable defense: bicarbonate. Bicarbonate is an alkaline substance that neutralizes acid. As acid tries to move through the mucus, the bicarbonate weakens it. By the time the acid reaches the surface of the stomach cells, its strength has been dramatically reduced. It's almost like having an invisible force field. Above the mucus, the acid remains extremely powerful. Below it, the environment is much safer for the stomach's living cells. This tiny difference exists over only a fraction of a millimeter. The stomach also seals its cells together with incredibly tight connections. Imagine building a brick wall. If there are large gaps between the bricks, water easily passes through. But if every brick fits perfectly, almost nothing can leak. Your stomach cells are connected in much the same way. These tight junctions prevent acid from slipping between the cells and reaching the deeper tissues. Meanwhile, a healthy blood supply constantly delivers oxygen and nutrients. It also carries away waste products, allowing damaged cells to recover quickly. Every second, millions of tiny events work together. Fresh mucus is produced. More bicarbonate is released. Blood continues flowing. Cells communicate with one another. Without any conscious effort, Your stomach quietly protects itself from one of the harshest environments found inside the human body. Most people never notice this invisible battle, yet your survival depends on it. But no protective system lasts forever. The mucus slowly wears away. Some cells become damaged. Others grow old and die. So how does your stomach keep working year after year? The answer lies in another incredible process. It is constantly rebuilding itself.
Imagine buying a house and replacing every damaged brick before the walls begin to collapse. Now imagine doing that every single day without anyone noticing. That is exactly what your stomach does. Although it feels permanent, the inner lining of your stomach is constantly changing. Every meal creates friction. Every drop of acid places stress on the stomach lining. Every wave of muscular contraction causes tiny amounts of wear. If the stomach never repaired itself, small injuries would quickly become serious damage. Fortunately, your body has a solution. Deep inside tiny structures called gastric glands, special stem cells are hard at work. Stem cells are unique because they can produce new cells to replace older damaged ones. As older stomach cells wear out, they naturally die and are removed. Fresh cells move upward to take their place. This renewal happens continuously, day after day. Throughout your life, many of the cells lining the surface of the stomach are replaced within just a few days. That means the protective lining you have today is not exactly the same lining you had earlier this week. Your stomach is quietly renewing itself while you sleep, while you work, while you exercise, and even while you're watching this video. This constant repair is one reason your stomach usually heals from tiny everyday injuries before you ever notice them. It's like having a maintenance crew working 24 hours a day, repairing damage before it becomes visible. But even the best maintenance team can face challenges. Sometimes harmful bacteria invade. Sometimes certain medicines reduce the stomach's natural defenses. Sometimes alcohol, smoking, or long-term irritation weakens the protective barrier. When that happens, acid and digestive enzymes may begin reaching tissues they were never meant to touch. Instead of digesting food, they begin damaging the stomach itself. Small areas of irritation appear. Inflammation develops. Over time, those damaged areas can deepen into painful sores called stomach ulcers. And once an ulcer forms, every meal, every drop of acid, and every stomach contraction can make the injury worse. So although your stomach has one of the most impressive repair systems in the human body, it is not indestructible. Its survival depends on a delicate balance between attack and protection. As long as those two forces remain balanced, your stomach continues doing its job without complaint. But when that balance is lost, the consequences can become surprisingly serious. In the next chapter, we'll discover exactly what happens when your stomach's defenses fail and why a tiny bacterium has caused millions of ulcers around the world.
For most of your life, your stomach performs its dangerous job perfectly. It produces powerful acid. It digests your food. It protects itself.
It's a very common issue these days.
It repairs itself. And you never notice. But sometimes, that remarkable defense system begins to fail. When it does, the results can be painful. One of the most common problems is a stomach ulcer. A stomach ulcer is an open sore that forms when the protective lining of the stomach becomes damaged. Without that protective barrier, acid and digestive enzymes can reach the tissue underneath. Instead of digesting your meal, they begin damaging your stomach itself. At first, the damage may be small. A tiny area becomes irritated. Inflammation develops, the stomach tries to repair itself. But if the injury continues, the damage can grow deeper and more painful. Some people feel a burning pain in the upper abdomen. Others experience nausea, bloating, or pain that comes and goes, especially between meals or during the night. In more serious cases, an ulcer may bleed. This can lead to vomiting blood or passing black, tar-like stools, which requires urgent medical attention. For many years, people believed stress was the main cause of stomach ulcers. Stress can make digestive symptoms feel worse. But scientists eventually discovered something surprising. Many stomach ulcers are caused by a tiny, spiral-shaped bacterium called Helicobacter. Unlike most bacteria, it has learned how to survive inside the stomach. It burrows into the protective mucus layer, where it can weaken the stomach's natural defenses. As the protective barrier becomes damaged, acid gains easier access to the tissue below. Over time, an ulcer may develop. Another common cause involves certain pain-relieving medicines known as NSAIDs. These medications can reduce the production of substances that help protect the stomach lining. Without enough protection, acid has a greater chance of causing injury. This is why doctors often recommend using these medicines carefully, especially for long periods. Your stomach's greatest strength, its powerful asset, can also become its greatest threat when its defenses are weakened.
Today, you've discovered how your stomach produces powerful acid, how it protects itself, and what happens when those defenses fail. But we've only uncovered half the story. In part 2, we'll reveal why your stomach growls when you're hungry, what really happens if you swallow chewing gum, the truth about common stomach myths, and the astonishing hidden world of the trillions of microbes living inside your digestive system. If you enjoyed this documentary, subscribe to David K. Science Facts, like this video, and tell us in the comments, my stomach is more incredible than I imagined. Part 2 is coming soon, and the next secret hidden inside your digestive system may completely change the way you understand your own body